This meeting is called to order. It is now 7 o'clock. At this time, I'll ask Councilman Hutto to give our opening prayer.
Let us pray. Our Father, now God, we ask your blessings upon this evening. We ask that you be in our midst and bless us as we go through the business of the town. Be in our minds that we do and say those things which are pleasing in your sight. Let us be of one mind that we may be united in what we do for our constituents. Lord, we also ask that you bless our educators who are in our midst this evening, for we realize that they are in a trying time and that things don't always go the way they prepare for. But Lord, we ask that you continue to bless them and lead and direct them, that they will be able to persevere. And when we have done all that you have assigned our hand to do here this evening, we ask that you give us safe passage back to our individual home. These are all the blessings we ask in the Son, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Join me in salute to the flag. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, you have a copy of tonight's agenda. Are there any changes that need to be made this time? Hearing none, need a motion to approve.
Motion.
Got a motion? Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, in favor, raise your right hand. And next on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from the April 4th regular scheduled council meeting, the April 17th, 2023 special meeting, and the April 20th special meeting. Are there any changes need to be made at this time to those minutes? Hearing none, need a motion to approve.
Motion.
Got a motion? Got a second, Mr. Hancock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, this time, I'd like to call forward Ms. Caroline Humanic, Christina Davis, Jennifer Dillon, and Kevin Jarman, please. If you'll come up here to the front, face back toward everybody in the crowd. I'm going to read you a quote that I found. I try to read a quote every time we have these types of events that we recognize our local education leaders. Education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. That was Malcolm X. I look back at my path through the school system here in Chesterfield County, starting out in Petersburg. You know, I started out with, a long time ago, like 1977. I think about Miss Huntley. Then first grade was Miss Rao. And, you know, I could, Miss Benton, third grade. I was talking to my wife the other day about all the teachers that I look back and how they made an impression on me. You know, I always talk about Miss Minnie Miller. If you didn't have Miss Minnie Miller, that's your problem. You know, I always taught her she was the inventor of tough love. I look at how I behave today, and I think a lot of things I don't do is because I got corrected in her class. You think about Miss Lipsy, and then you get up to Central High School. You know, I had Miss Bonnet. You know, for senior English, and I was trying to think of some of the other teachers that really just left an imprint on me. Of course, my mom was an educator at Petersburg for 34, 35 years, and I guarantee she'd have kept on had she not had a bad heart, which I probably contributed to some of that. But again, I appreciate the teachers we have, and that's one of the most, I think, between our military, our teachers, and our police, that's probably the most underthanked folks that we have in our society. And you think about what they do for us. You know, some people say, oh, they're there to educate. Well, they're there to educate, but also teach you right from wrong. the parents today darn sure don't do that. You look at some kids that are in society today, just go anybody from middle school forward, and you can say, well, either they had a poor home where the parents were not truly parents, or they didn't have good teachers. And more like it was poor parents than it was bad educators. You think about the turnover ratio of teachers in society today. You know, I heard somebody just at one of our schools here recently talking about, you know, they decided to take a different career path. They've been teaching for several years and decided to do a different career path. I look at some of the folks here who recognize the Teachers of the Year. I know their parents. At least I know two of them. Miss Hardy was one of the ones. I'm trying to think of names while ago. Miss Hardy had me in 11th grade. Miss Hardy Dillon, her mother, and Miss Manic. You know, I know both of her parents. They were grandparents too, and her aunt was our valedictorian of our class. So you know it's a good bloodline. So with that being said, do we have representatives? I got Dr. Harrington David. If you'll come forward, Miss Ellen Middleton, Dr. McGuire, and I can see Mr. Brewer. Is Mr. Brewer, was he able to make it, or representative from? Okay, do we have somebody from Central? Nobody else from Central?
Dr. McGuire was with us for a while.
I'll start with Dr. McGuire. If you want to make a few comments about your Teacher of the Year.
Absolutely, yes, sir. Well, first of all, thank you for having us tonight. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's so good to see so many familiar faces. Good to see Mr. Hutto, so good to see you, sir. I just want to recognize Coach Kevin Jarman. Coach Jarman this is his 4th year at New Heights Middle School, but this is actually his 38th year in public education. So he's actually a working retiree from the state of North Carolina. He worked at Forest Hills High School, East Union Middle School, and finished up at Porter Ridge High School, where he not only taught, but he coached about everything you can coach up there. And then, of course, he came down to us about 4 years ago. I remember Dr. Hazard and I was actually on the committee that interviewed him. And so we're just so proud to have him at New Heights Middle School. But not only that, but when you look at an educator, you always think about that instructor, that teacher that teaches from bell to bell. Well, not only does he do that, but he teaches from the time he gets there to the time he leaves and beyond that. Often, Coach Jarman is the first to get there in the morning and the last to leave in the afternoon. He was with me until about 6 o'clock the other night dealing with the situation. And that's just the type of person that he is. He volunteers to do that. So we're just so proud to have Coach Jarman and all of his, not only expertise, but his love and compassion for students. I can only hope that I have as much energy and passion that he does after 38 years of working in education. So we're just honored to have Coach Jarman at New Heights Middle School. We thank you for everything you do. Thank you.
Tell us about your Teacher of the Year.
This is Miss Christine Davis. She is a 5th grade teacher at Pageland Elementary. She has been at Pageland all of her career for 25 years. I can remember my first year there. I knew Miss Davis before I even came to Pageland 8 years ago because I coached her daughter back in the day when I was coaching over at Central. But I also knew her from when my sister used to teach there, and I'd be helping her set up her room and stuff. So she was a breath of fresh air for me when I first got there 8 years ago. And she was my go-to girl. I was like, okay, I can't find this. Where is it? She's like, I know where it is. And we'd run off and she'd go help me find things. But when you talk about tough love, this is it. And when you said that, that was already in my mind about what I was going to talk to her about her, because she is the one who has high expectations for her kids. And she's tough on them, and the parents know that, but they appreciate that. Because of, she pushes her kids to be the best that they can be. She knows their data. She knows her kids up one side and down the other, and can talk to the parents about them when we have meetings and different things like that. But and she's our grade level chair. She leads her team and does all these different things. She's running around today. We're doing a pep rally tomorrow to get ready for state testing, and she's running around trying to find everything to get things ready for the different events and things that we have at school. But she is a true leader for our school, and our teachers really appreciate all that she does, and so do I, and we love her.
So Ms. Davis is our modern day mini mill.
That's it.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Shanika David, principal at Petersburg Primary School, and I am proud to present our 23-24 Teacher of the Year, and that's Miss Caroline Hancock Humanic. I had to add that in there because I told her, I said, you stand up for your dad. But, we are so proud to have Miss Humanic representing our school. Miss Humanic did come to Petersburg as a child, and she currently teaches kindergarten. I asked her to move down last school year, and she graciously did. And the funny thing about that, she's in her mom's old classroom, and that was very special as well. But Miss Humanic, I call her our child whisperer because she can get some of our kids, just like her mom, get some of our kids that just maybe very upbeat and need a little just some calming.
That's a kind word.
To be very politically correct. And Miss Humanic take them and just polish them. She's a star polisher, and she turns them into just one student I can think of. Just last year, he was just all over the place, and this year I knew our child whisperer could handle it, and so she's done a great job with that child, with all of our children, and she's very calming with what she says to them and how she delivers her lessons and everything. I go in there just relax, and she brings a great spirit to her, not only to her students but to our staff. We're very blessed to have she and her family as a part of our school.
The whole family.
The whole family, because you get one Hancock, you get them all. It's always, so we are very, very appreciative to have her. She's going to be moving into a different role next year, but she's been with us for 4 years now, coming from Wingate, and we knew she was going to be Teacher of the Year, because she's had a trial run, but that's a long story, but I won't share that. But we knew it was going to happen. And I'm so proud to stand beside her, and just because she's a great educator, and she will be one that if she's in kindergarten that I would want my own daughter to have, but we'll have that privilege. But we're very proud of you, and I know you represent our school very well.
And Mr. Brewer was not able to attend from Central, so Mr. McGuire, Dr. McGuire, would you have said a few comments about our Teacher of the Year at Central?
Absolutely, I'd be proud to, and just to know, not only is she Central High School Teacher of the Year, but she's actually in the top 3 for the district, Chesterfield County Teacher of the Year, so please give her a round of applause. I will say this about Ms. Dillon, I can't speak to her, obviously from a supervisor teacher, but I can speak to her performance as a friend. And I am just so, let me just say this. I wouldn't be the educator that I am today without Ms. Dillon. And I mean that truly from my heart, because we work together literally right across the hall from each other. Many a days I would go into her classroom and we would just talk about situations with students that we were dealing with, and she would help me and encourage me, and I hope that I could, obviously encourage her at sometimes as well. But so much that she has poured in, not only to the students of Central High School, and I believe you were at Monroe High School before you came to Central. And so obviously so much that she's poured into those students at Central High School, but also the staff and the administration at Central High School. So I'm just proud to know Ms. Dillon. Obviously I've worked with her closely as a friend, as a colleague. My wife currently works with her still. And I am just totally rooting her on, not only as the Central High School Teacher of the Year, but the district, because I really want to see her give that speech next year at the district in service. I joked with her the other night at the musical. But not only that, but there's so many things that she does, the prom committee and so many student government associations that she's involved with. And it's just really, she's an educator that looks at the entire child, not only from an academic standpoint, but from a social, emotional standpoint. It's just somebody that we're proud to say that loves and cares about our kids. And so, as Dr. Davis said earlier, I would be proud to have my child in all of these wonderful educators' classrooms, but especially Ms. Dillon, because I just know her so well. So thank you, Ms. Dillon, for everything you did, and congratulations.
I'll say this is we've been recognizing our Teacher of the Year since 2014. I'm not sure if they've done it prior to that, but we've done it every year. Try to do it every year. I think COVID may have messed up one year we had it, but we try to recognize our teachers. And I'm not sure if other municipalities do the same thing, but I strongly encourage them to. But I think this is one of the unique situations we have here. We have a sitting council member, and his daughter is one of our Teacher of the Year candidates. So, Mr. Hancock, would you like to take a few minutes to?
Yeah, I want to congratulate all the teachers of the year first. I know all of you do a great job. We knew at a young age Caroline would probably be a teacher. Let's see, I get kind of emotional on these things. Caroline does a great job. She always has. We're very proud of her. I feel sure she does a great job at school. I think Anna can attest to that too. She's, like I say, we knew at a young age Caroline would be a teacher. We used to tell our children all the time that if you wanted to make a difference, to choose a career that would help people. We're very proud.
Thank you, sir. We do have one retired educator that sits on council, Mr. Huttoven. Mr. Huttoven, do you have like make any closing comments?
Yes, sir. First of all, congratulations to all of you. We come from a position of understanding somewhat where you are right now and realize what you're dealing with, and that certainly what's being said to you and about you is certainly not enough. Because from day to day, you're dealing with situations that are very challenging. And of course, we are in challenging times as far as education and educators are concerned. You don't hear thank you nearly enough for what you have to do and going beyond call of duty without even thinking about it. I'm sure that many days you leave school going home feeling dejected, but the next morning you rise to the occasion and ready to go again. Because you have the children at heart, you want to make sure that you give them what they need. And that's why you're in this position here on this evening, being recognized for what you do. And certainly we appreciate it. And this morning on Good Morning America, Deborah Roberts, one of the journalists on ABC News, was there giving a brief presentation about a book that she is promoting, and it's called Lessons Learned. And of course, she's dedicating this to the teachers in America because they are not receiving what they ought to receive. And I think most of us in here realize that education is being pushed to the back burner. And I don't know whether we are paying attention or not, but that's happening. And a whole lot of elements are coming in on education and trying to dumb it down for some reason. But it's people like you who will have to continue to carry the torch, and we need to be in the forefront of promoting education so that we don't allow that to happen, because this is happening. But she wants to dedicate her book to teachers because they don't receive the recognition and accolades, and I don't remember your last name, but I know you're a Hancock, or but we want to congratulate you because we are not getting enough young people into the business. We are not getting enough young people. I remember when went to college or went to university was dedicated to teachers. But now you go over there today, you will be hard pressed to find a teacher or somebody in education. And that's what's happening, and it has been happening over the years until we are at the point now where you principals are going to have a hard job this summer trying to fill your classroom. So once again, we say congratulations to all of you because you're doing a good job. We want you to know that we appreciate it. And like they started a few years ago, telling the service members of the United States military, thank you for your service. We need to start telling our teachers, thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I started to hand these over the top of the, and that's like, no, that would be not personal enough. I do appreciate you. I'm sorry, I got the wrong. Shannon, shake hand, cops. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm giving you yours here. Thank you for what you've done. Good to see you. John, thank you for what you do. Thanks, sir.
If they could move in a little bit closer together. Is anyone that's going to slide over?
I'm getting in the back.
Thank you, Ed.
And then you want out all the council?
If we get the council to push the chair back and kind of stand here toward the middle. So let's get everybody kind of turning in.
Yeah, she had all three of them. Oh, okay.
Is that good enough?
I have to take several, so one of them will come out wrong. And I got back up over there.
Congratulations.
Let everybody give them a round of applause one more time. Yes. I get, you'd be surprised how many people come to me and say, your mom taught me in 1974, 75.
She taught all three of our kids.
Hey, will you start?
I'll say this, with all the folks that are here, with the people of the year, if y'all want, y'all welcome to stay for our council meeting. But if y'all want to dismiss, this is the time to. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank
Yeah, that's the regular. We got to do the vote here first.
I know, but does that need to be public comment?
Yes.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is the public hearing for rezoning the North Sycamore Street. Need a motion from council to open the floor for public comment. Got a motion? Second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. We'll take comment now regarding the rezoning of North Sycamore Street. Mr. Slide, do you have any comment on this item?
The only thing, this item's being rezoned from an R8, which is single-family residential, to an R6. And that's actually the thing that's gonna be on old business there. Nothing new with it. Mr. Lowry's planning on building a house there for his mother, and he needs it rezoned so that the house will fit in there. That smaller lot that he has there.
We'll open the floor for public comment this time. If nobody comes forward after about a minute or so, then we'll go ahead, we'll close the floor. Give about 30 more seconds. We'll make one last call for public comment as it relates to the rezoning on North Sycamore Street. At this time, we'll close the public hearing portion. Need a motion from council to close the public hearing for the rezoning of North Sycamore Street. Got a motion? Second, any further discussion? Being all in favor, raise your right hand.
Who was your second from?
Kim. Next on the agenda is persons appearing before council. Who do you have signed up?
No one has signed up.
Do we have anybody like to come before council? This is not a chatty group tonight. We'll give about 15 more seconds. Just respect everybody's time. All right, we'll close the public comment. We'll move into old business. Ordinance 482, rezoning of tax map number 031, 002, 014, 015 from R8 single family residential to R6, 1 and 2 family residential. This is second reading. Mr. Sly.
All right, there's a picture of where it's at on the map. Like I said, Mr. Lowry's looking to build a house for his mother there beside his residence. And the property just to the north of it there is town property.
That's almost where the track bed, where the
Mhm.
train used to be. I'm sure Mr. Lowry already knew that, but. Any questions, comments from council? And this has already been recommended by the planning commission again, correct?
Yes, it has.
Okay. So, any questions, comments? If there are none, need a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 482. Got a motion?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Hearing all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Next under new business, Payson Chamber of Commerce quarterly report.
All righty.
Have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Sorry I couldn't be here last month. I was doing some hospital visitation for myself last month. But I want to go over a couple things. Let's see here. I want to start with Maple Street. We have been doing a lot of work on Maple Street. We're doing some painting. We've been doing a lot of cleanup. We've cleaned up all the maple trees, cleaned up the roses. I want to thank Stewart and Public Works has been incredible about getting us the mulch. I think we probably put out 800-900 bags of mulch in the downtown area and Moore Park and got most of the roses all cut back. I think we have 6 left. And then some more shrubs we got to move out. But it's looking real good. But I would like to request if we could possibly look at, I know we can't do it as much as we do Pearl and McGregor, but if we could maybe quarterly get a sweeping down Maple Street. It gets, for some odd reason, there was enough dirt to put in a garden on that street. So I don't know if we can put, I know the budget's already done for this year, but I don't know if going forward, if we could just quarterly, do a sweep down Maple Street, because it gets pretty bad, and I think that it's one of our major areas with businesses, so I would like to have that, if at all possible, Mayor. The contracts have been signed, and the plans, I think, are coming. I think they met with Tommy today. We have finally got a daycare coming to Pageland, a very large daycare out of Charlotte is coming. I've been working with them for a few months. They are going to go into the IGA building, and it will accommodate up to 92 students. It will be a child care development program, after-school program, summer camp program. They will have music, art. They're going to have an indoor type gym. They're going to have an outdoor type gym. So we are hoping, if all goes well, to see that open by August for the next school year for after school. So they are out of Charlotte, out of the Plaza Midwood area, and they have been really good. We worked with the Starlings to get the building. Everything's going real well. So if everything goes well, the town is finally going to have a very large daycare program. Moving up, something I want to talk about that's going to affect us all is the closing of Atrium. Losing Atrium is a huge loss to this town. The meeting that I had this week, yesterday, they are going to be completely shut down by July 31st. That is going to leave a lot of people here in town without the primary care physician that they have had. Mr. Butler's already showing up as a Monroe contact now. But I don't think it's over. I don't think that they know everything that's going on down here. I appear before County Council tomorrow to get their support. The industries have all submitted letters of support. There's an online petition. This affects our industries. The industries have called. A couple of our industries say, this is something that we're our employees, we can let them have off lunch, or an hour during the day for their lunch hour to go down and see Dr. Butler. Now they're going to have to be going to Monroe or Waxhaw. And so that is going to affect productivity and workforce situation and workforce recruitment for economic development. I spoke to Libby Lear with economic development. They look for primary care and medical facilities, and without this, it kind of is another strike against us. So I am asking council, I'm asking the mayor and the council to draft a letter of support of keeping the Atrium office open here in Pageland. I'm not sure if that has to be voted on or if Jason just pen a letter, but we do need a letter because we do have a meeting with them May 8th in downtown Charlotte. So I am asking for support from the town on this office situation. Walmart is going to start next month working on the gazebo. It is going to be completely repainted, pressure washed, and the missing rail is going to be replaced. June, we're rolling out a program called Discover Downtown. It's going to be a raffle ticket type situation. Every purchase you make, you get a ticket, and all the stores are donating gift certificates, and then the chamber is going to give a $500 shopping spree away for downtown. So we're trying to get more people into there. The bench, and I talked to the bench and the pot that was supposed to go at the clock is now been currently disapproved. Is that?
Disapproved.
Disapproved. From DOT, they said we can take some pictures, and Bill and I are going to try to get a mock-up of what size that bench is and show it to them. But as it stands right now, after we've already ordered the benches and the pots, it's now been denied. So that kind of puts us in a little lurch on that. If you're driving by Burgers on Pearl, the mural has started. She hopes to be completed in 7 days. Thank you, Stuart, for training her to use the lift. It's going to be nice. It is dedicated to the Ladies of the Garden Club, so in honor of all the years of beautification that they have done. The chamber is we have announcing that we are going to be having a breast cancer walk and health fair this year. It is being chaired by Wilhelmina Robinson of Salon Static. Jessie Mangum Kimmery is on our committee. Her mother's on the committee. Ken is on our committee. So it's going to be a very large walk. We're going to have the mammogram trucks here. And there's going to be a memorial and survival walk at the community center around the track. A lot of stuff. Jesse, we're pretty excited about it. It's kind of a great item.
We've needed this for a long time.
And we do really have a great group of people who are really working on putting that on. We are working with the fire department to have Christmas at the fire department this year, the week before the Christmas Spectacular, with Christmas with the Fireman Santa and the Dalmatian Dog and cocoa and cookies at the fire department. We're trying to get more things with the town involved. Music in Moore Park. Semi-small crowd, maybe 50 for our first one. Of course, there was an incident that wasn't my proudest moment, and there may or may not have been some beverages at the park that may not have should have been there. But I am working with Shane. I've talked to Shane. We're going to work on an agreement of what is expected, what is allowed, what is not allowed, and he's going to get a letter to the chamber, and we're going to sign that and make sure if there is alcohol in the park that we have the right license and insurance, but I don't think we're going to allow it in the park. So, but this month, it is May 20th, we have a Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston tribute band coming. So it should be a lot of fun. And that takes us down to the Watermelon Festival. We are in big plans for the Watermelon Festival. We are adding a 3-point dunk contest this year on top of the other items that we have. We have already had to turn down 19 vendors. We have had that much request for the festival this year. We have had unbelievable response to the festival. So I think it's going to be probably our largest festival ever, which makes us very happy. And at that time, I'll entertain any questions or concerns from the mayor and council.
Any questions, comments?
Do you have a date for that breast cancer walk? October 14th. I figured it's gonna be from like 8 to 5, I think.
I think the walk is going to start at 10. The building will open at 9. And like I said, there's going to be guest speakers, mammograms.
All the, everybody's gonna have a different shirt around town. There's gonna be several different shirts you can buy.
You want to tell them what the theme is?
Save the melons. So,
So-
it's gonna be watermelon themed.
So stay with brand, and there will be shirts available, and all the money will go to local breast cancer projects. This will not be going to any national or statewide program. There will be a committee. I think Kim will be on it, Jesse will be on it, Wilhelmina will be on it, and it will help local hospice, local supplies, local needs of women here in our community suffering from breast cancer. So all money raised will be used and stay locally without any administrative fees coming out of that. So that is where we're at. Okay?
Do we need to do anything to support that?
I think we can go out there and just, can you draft it now, Simon?
Yeah, and draft it.
Okay.
Right. Thank you so much.
Next on the agenda is the PDRTA. Come on forward, you got the floor.
Mayor, if you would, there's another slideshow. Can you hover over it and flip over to PDRTA slideshow?
You got the floor?
Yes, sir.
But it's still on our slide, up here.
It's changed over here, it's not over there. You have to come up here and,
May have to just minimize the, hit the escape button. So it'll take this one down.
computer. That's great, my child will take my child, so. There you go.
That was familiar.
That was better.
Mayor, council staff, thank y'all for giving me a few minutes this evening. I'm gonna try to run through this, and I know I talk fast. Please tell me to slow down if I'm going too fast. We've been here before. We've had some conversations about public transit and Pageland, and I wanted to come just give an update and some hopeful, exciting news about kind of some plans to potentially move forward. So I wanted to just kind of give a rundown. I can't remember how much in detail we got last time, but I wanted to just give some more information, if that's okay. And thank y'all for allowing me to come. PDRTA, we cover 6 counties, Florence, Marion, Dillon, Marlboro, Darlington, and Chesterfield County. Chesterfield County right now, we're just running in Sherrall. We have a Sherrall to Bentonville Connect, and that's it. So that's what we're here to try to solve. PDRTA, next year's our 50th anniversary, 1974, we were founded, and actually PDRTA, our landmass, 3,500 square miles, is the 3rd largest RTA in the country. Obviously, we don't have the ridership or vehicles as a New York Transit or Chicago or Denver, but the area is massive that we cover within those 6 counties. And obviously, Chesterfield County, I think, is the biggest county of the 6 that we do cover. Recent growth, we started a new service in 4 of our counties. Just a few years ago, we were only in 2, and just reopened our Marion facility. We offer various programs, seniors, veterans, adult ed, homeless, students, obviously a lot of workforce. PDRTA just received the 2023 Rural and Urban Board Members of the Year and Transit Provider of the Year, as well as Advocate of the Year. And really, all that happened because of the new services that we were able to start during the pandemic. And so we're very proud of those, and those are statewide through SCDOT and the Transit Association of South Carolina vote on those. Roughly 44%. We did a survey yesterday on board across all 6 counties. We had all of our staff and volunteers out, and we did 44% of all of our passengers are going to or from work. So technically what that is about 400,000 trips a year right now, which is a growth, and it's continuing to grow, but nearly half of them are going to and from work. 20% are for medical appointments, and 19% for education, and 17% are just folks going shopping or paying bills or visiting pharmacies. And the one thing about all of those, they're either going to earn money or they're going to spend money. And that's really kind of what we've seen across our entire. Won't read all this, just talking about what we've done recently, but we've been able to do those things because of bringing many local stakeholders together. 75% of what we do is covered on the federal side. We have to come up with about 25% locally and through the state in order to have access to the 75% federal funds. And so that's kind of what we have to do. This is just a couple things. I think everybody here probably knows that Mohawk closed down this past year, so we're working on some different things in Marlboro County now. We actually have a good bit going on with Harbor Freight now that's going very well. And, that type of service is something we're looking to bring to Pageland and the surrounding area. Again, seniors, veterans, students, medical appointments, medical patients, employees, and shoppers. Have a lot of good working relationships with MUSC, McLeod Hospital, Harbor Freight, a lot of the FQHCs, Northeastern Technical College, Francis Marion University, Coker College, Florence Arlington Tech, all of them we have routes and services for now. So this is the senior HR at Harbor Freight Tools. We're doing service right now from them, starting about 4 o'clock in the morning, running through first, and now we've actually brought in second shift, and it's going well. And that gentleman came and spoke at a legislative reception for us in early March, talking about different ways to fund public transit in the state. So he's been a good advocate and partner in kind of what we're doing there. I heard Bench earlier, but PDRTA receives 80% federal funds for our capital projects. Right now in Darlington, we're working on a project where across all of our routes, we're looking at areas where we have high ridership in certain areas, where also there's a lot of school-age children getting on school buses. And what the plan is to go in and put bus shelters. So in the morning, whenever it's pouring down rain, and the students are out there waiting on a bus, they don't have to do it in the rain anymore. They won't be soaking wet by the time they get to school. So we could do something like this in Pageland and benches as well. Benches along bus stop route, we get 80% federal funding for it. So you buy a $1,000 bench for $200 local, we can get that bench and put it in.
These have solar powered lights, has advertising opportunities, they have USB charging them for cell phones, a lot of different things you can do with the bus shelters. Across our surveys, this is what we find. So out of all of our ridership, roughly 81% say they do not have access to a car, 19% say they do. And then we drill down a little bit further, talking about how many cars they have in their household. We do find that 32% of the passengers have vehicles in their household. But a lot of times it's someone going to work earlier and then someone's left at home without a ride, and this is kind of where we come into play. This is a funded model, and I'm not sure if I shared this before, but everything we do, PRTA, we're not a 501c3, but we operate as a nonprofit, and basically all of our expenses at the end of the month, we draw down federal, state, and then we have our local funding to help cover our expenses. But this is the proposal that I've given to Chesterfield County, and I'm hoping that we'll have more information in the coming weeks on that as they continue with their budget season. But basically, you have hours and miles, and we have indirect costs, and basically that's how we come up with what our total expenses will be for a service. And I won't get into all the details, but really $500,000 is kind of what we're projecting to start out in Chesterfield County. And what that means is we got to have on the far left side about $135,000 in local match. So what I anticipate is getting 20 to 25 businesses, industries, municipalities together to make that a lighter lift than what it would be if we were in an area where you didn't have all those resources. And then I just listed some potential stakeholders. We already have some commitments, but roughly the $135,000 is 27% of the total. This is kind of a model, but what I envision, for Pageland, may not be what happens. If we do public hearings, we'll end up inviting the public in to come in, give us information and feedback. But I know workforce is important here. Connections, we talked last time about folks in Jefferson needing to get into Pageland, and then the workforce piece. And now it sounds like the medical piece may be an issue to getting folks to their appointments, whatever that may look like. Until you get that resolved, is something we'd be able to help with. Medicaid clients right now have to wait 3 days for their ride for transportation. When we come into an area now, you call us today, we'll take you tomorrow. And that's what we're doing across all 6 counties that we cover. So you don't have to wait that 3 days. If you're sick, you don't want to wait that long to go to a doctor. But the workforce piece, obviously Pageland has more industry than probably anywhere in Chesterfield County. If I'm wrong, you can tell me, but I'm pretty sure it is with the DC and everything else going on. So we know that we're going to bus people in from other areas to Pageland. And so that's kind of will be a big component. So we have like an 8 to 5 essential services, but we would be able to start at 5 a.m. Busing folks in for workforce. We'll take that first and potentially bring in the second shift for those that need it too, even starting out. Our goal is, so from that we'd be able to do parking rides. We just signed a van pool agreement. Basically, we're able to offer van pools, so industries will be able to, we train 1 or 2 drivers. One employee will take a vehicle home. They can bring 8 or 9 or 10 employees from a certain region they live in. And then we offer a guaranteed ride home program where we would actually, if they have a situation, something happens to one of their kids at school, we send another vehicle, dispatch another vehicle, go to their workplace, pick that employee up, take them to the school to get their kid, and then we would actually take them to the doctor or take them home. That's a guaranteed ride home program that we would look to do. And so we're looking to cover, all of Chesterfield County, and it's not going to be 100% of what we want it to be, but we got to start somewhere. And my goal, if we can get, I think your budget is a January budget. A lot of the other folks are July to June. But what we really need is the commitment. From what I get from the county is they want to make sure that municipalities are on board. We're trying to bring public transit back to this area. So, that's kind of my goal, is to make sure that this is something Pageland wants. And for further discussions to be able to figure out, what that may look like as a partner as well. Let's see. This is just a breakdown of some of the services, like in Marlboro County. I won't name all of them, but you can see that this is how we are able to bridge that gap with municipalities, businesses, industries, medical, educational institutions. So this is kind of how we come up with that 20-25% of the local level. And then this is just a variety of different vehicles we have. Top left is anywhere up to 35 to 44 passenger. Then we have 14 to 22 passenger cutaways. We still have 2 trolleys and some other vehicles.
We just got in 2 weeks ago, 6 new buses. And those buses could be for Pageland. We have 3 more coming in about 2 weeks. So that's really kind of what I wanted to share, that, you know, my goal is not 2024, it's 2023. The Marion services are up, they started in January, they're doubling ridership every month. It just continues to do well, so we know that, we feel like this area can do the same thing. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know it's going a little long, but I certainly appreciate it.
I do have a question on the local funding. Would this be an agreement with the county of Chesterfield, or each municipality in the county has a part, or
So,
how does that work?
Yes, I mean, it's each municipality, area industries, you know, medical, your FQHCs, it's just a number of them. And, you know, what I hope from the county is that, you know, they'd be able to potentially do a little more than what most municipalities. I just left Mount Croghan, about an hour ago, and they had their city council meeting. I don't anticipate that they would be able to do what maybe a Pageland can do. But the same thing is, we believe that many hands make light work, and what I'll ask for them is them to, if this is something they want, just to support it. And be able, I don't know whether that's $1,000 or $2,000 or $500 as far as that goes, but we want to make sure that we have the buy-in, that, you know, that we're coming to areas that want us to be there is the big thing. And we're seeing a number of folks. We have nurses at McLeod and USC that's using our services to get to work. We have professors at Francis Marion that's biking to our buses now, putting it on the front of the bus and going to Francis Marion. So, I mean, it's not just the folks that critically need the service. Other people are taking advantage of it because at $3 or something a gallon, it makes sense for them. So they look at ways to cut their own personal budget, so.
How soon are you looking at? You said 2023.
So if we have great news coming from municipalities and counties, for us to get all our public hearings done, to be able to produce a product and put it out there, it takes about 6 months. You know, I really think that potentially we could probably looking like a November start date. And I would love to get it done before the holiday season, and having those routes run, be able to connect, and folks coming into Pageland from other areas, spending money, and then, you know, being able to do that. I didn't mention the ADA complimentary paratransit piece, but all of our buses are ADA accessible. They hold 2 wheelchairs and walkers. Each one has 8 to 10 audio and video cameras on board. We don't really have the issues that Horry County and Columbia and some other places have. We've been blessed in that area, but and our drivers are well-trained, first aid, CPR. They go through de-escalation, a ton of stuff. And so we're excited about the possibility, and this is an area that I want to be in as soon as we can.
I guess my next question is, what do you need from us?
So I know that this is I'm not even mid-year yet for you, but, you know, if this is something that council would support, it could just be a letter of support, and with intention of, obviously, you've got a budget to work through, and, you know, for me to be able to go to Chesterfield and Chesterfield County, they're going to want to know that Pageland's on board with this whole process, and that you're looking forward to it, and that you have intentions of trying to do something locally. And that's really, I think at this time, unless there's another avenue, I mean, some places they look at they have hospitality tax or tourism. They look at different areas where they may have some area for room for budget throughout the course of the year. And for us, we don't have to have a check today for whatever the amount that Pageland will be willing to do. It can be 12 checks. It can be quarterly. It can be twice a year, because what we do is we draw down each month for our expenses, and we're going to buy a lot of fuel here locally. We're looking to hire employees here. We're going to end up hiring 6 or 7 employees in this region to be able to run the services in order to do kind of what I was describing.
Will you be surveying industry, or that's the municipality?
We've already started that process. And industry is going to be a big piece of this, I believe, and trying to make sure that you know, you have your essential services piece, but we have to tie industry into it, I think, for it to be successful. I know on the state and the federal side right now, workforce transportation is a priority, and potentially there's even more funding that may be pushed down for workforce. On May 22nd, we're starting new services for Reese Foods and Performance Foods in Florence. That'll serve Niagara, and it's out on the 327 where the new Buc-ee's is. But we're starting a new service there on May 22nd that covers three zip codes. They see it, they get it, We've done lunch and learns. Out of 1,200 employees, 100 of them are paying between $20 and $40 each way to get to work every day. And we're putting a service out there that they're not gonna have to pay anything to get to work every day. So they're gonna be able to save $20 to $40 a day, 5 days a week, that goes back into their budget, so they can provide for their families and spend more money locally.
And 135,000 is what you need for this area.
Yes, sir. So that's not Pageland. That will be for all these services. That's connecting Jefferson to Pageland, you know, a route within Pageland. Pageland, right now, the way you are growing, it's not just gonna be feeder routes. You need service within Pageland to get people around. You want them to be able to shop locally. And then if you do have workforce that's going to another area, we want to be able to serve them too. If it's medical that needs to go somewhere else, we want them to have access. And, you know, right now in our area, we see a senior population that's getting to the point where they're gonna have to hand over their car keys. And we want them to still have independence and not have to rely on people to get them places.
When you say medical going to other areas, you talking about going back into areas where you're serving, extending beyond?
We're at first, we're not looking to connect other counties. If there's a need down the road, there may be, like right now, Sherrall to Bennettsville is a connection, but there wouldn't be a route day one that's gonna connect Chesterfield to like McLeod or MUSC in Florence. If there's a need for that, then it might be something that can be approached, but that's gonna be, actually our partners with the big hospitals have become more and more involved in kind of what we do. And they're both committing locally to us now, so that may be something that could interest them, especially for your specialists and folks like that that's got to go to appointments. That's something we can look at.
Yeah, well, my question is leading to that, a lot of people here for medical reasons go to Lancaster, Hartsville, Monroe. So there's a great need for that,
Yes, sir.
but that won't be included initially.
Not in this proposal, but honestly, that is not just on Pageland. I think you can look at those bigger providers to be able to be a partner in that, and that's something we can look at to be able to cross those county lines. You know, one question I had from, I think it was from Jefferson and Chesterfield, was can we take folks to Monroe? And we can cross state lines. So if there's a workforce, there's people crossing state lines to go to work, we can run commuter buses. I talked to Purdue Farms in Dillon a couple weeks ago, and they have another location in Rockingham, and they want to bus people from Marlboro County and Dillon County to Rockingham. That's something we can do. We can't go to Charlotte and pick up folks to come here that's not from here, but where the trip originates is what determines whether or not we can do it. So if there's folks that need to go for workforce or medical, that would be a service that we can provide.
It's a needed service.
I think when we talked about this, what was it, about a year ago?
Yes.
Year and a half ago, I think we all agreed at the
Yeah,
time.
we talked about another year.
Yeah. There's definitely services needed here in Pageland.
Yeah, whatever. Personally, what would it cost for an individual?
My goal is for it to be fare free for anyone that wants to use the services in Pageland. Not to pay anything to use it. And the reason for that, and I may have shared that before, but Farebox revenue, if they pay $1 or $2 to get put in the Farebox, we can't use that for local support. So if Pageland could do $5,000 or $10,000, that would actually offset $100,000 in Farebox revenue, because we can't use Farebox to match federal funds. And because we've got to bring someone to pull that vault, to count that money, and then go to the bank deposit, and by the time you do that, you might not be making any money. You may spend money to earn the Farebox. So the other aspect of that is the more, we call it butts in the seat, the more federal funding we get, because it's a better look when the more passengers you're moving. I was in Sherrall this morning riding for several hours, Marlboro County this afternoon, and in 1 hour in Marlboro County, we had 17 people board the bus that I was sitting on in 1 hour, from 2:30 to 3:30. So, I mean, it's doing well. I mean, we're moving about 4,500 people over there now a month, and I know this area can do the exact same, if not better.
Anyone have any questions? More comments?
I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm pretty much met with everybody now. Got to get with Ruby and Patrick, and and then get back with the county, let them know, but really it's, letters of support. You know, I think I've shared before, like Dennisville's doing $10,000 a year with their local commitment. We have places like Society Hill that's doing $1,000. We have some places, I don't know what my project's gonna do. Can't say for sure. I won't turn it down if they brought $10,000 to the table, but I don't anticipate that because they have 165 people in population. If that, I don't know if it's that much, but they said it's not a lot based on the last census. But anyways, the letters of support will be great, and I can email Shane and we can talk about that, and then going back to the county to figure out kind of where we are. I'm hoping to have another industries meeting, if the chamber can help me out with that. We'll get the industries together to have conversations about workforce transportation, because that will impact all of this to be able to reach that number on the local level.
All right. Any questions? One more time. Thank you
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, you think you can put that back
Next on
over?
the agenda is Juneteenth.
I need to come back.
I got it. You got it?
Much improved. There you go.
And, Mayor, members of council, the community, this year will be our third annual Juneteenth event. I first want to start off by thanking you guys for last year. Last year was a great success. I know we did have members of the council that did attend, so thank you for your presence and everything. And so I'm coming before you again. I have submitted a proposal for this year's Juneteenth. And it's basically the same level of support and everything that you guys had provided with us last year. Nothing has changed. The sponsorship level, the uses of the gazebo, and
Public Works.
Yeah, Public Works, law enforcement present, the street closure. The same thing that, we basically had, you guys had approved on last year. And so I attached a copy of the proposal as well as a map of the street closures that I'm requesting.
Any questions, comments from council?
I know this may sound like a silly question, but you're gonna do it on that Monday, the June.
No, ma'am, it'll be on that Saturday, June 17th.
Okay.
Mhm.
One thing that I would ask the local businesses that'll be affected by your closings.
Yes,
Please let them know, because I got a lot of raft about that last year.
yes, sir. No problem.
Please reach out to them early, sooner than later, so they can prepare for that. And
As soon as I get the approval, we'll reach out
Yeah.
to them the next day.
Anything else you need to add?
Right now, as far as the one thing that I see on here, law enforcement, the police department, I'm not really speaking for Dean, but I'm speaking for Dean right a second. Their staff is kind of low. They've got some folks who are in the academy and some folks who are not, I don't think they've got some that haven't made it to the academy yet, correct? And
Two that's actually in the academy.
we've got two that's in the academy, so he may not have the staff to be able to have somebody up there the whole time. May can have them ride by, but that depends on how busy they are. I can't guarantee that we'll have law enforcement.
Well,
What we can do is I can talk to the sheriff and see if he can have some.
Yeah.
That's, what I was gonna say is that, last year, the presence was, known, but it wasn't like an actual presence per se, like they knew that law enforcement was in the vicinity. And so, we did have a few of them that stopped by the event, so they did see, have a visual of law enforcement and everything, so.
One other thing, and I don't think y'all knew this last year, but one of the things that we don't allow on town property is bouncy houses. I think there was one there last year. As we don't need to have a bouncy house there this year. That's typically whenever people do events, we don't allow those on,
Okay.
because of insurance reasons.
Insurance.
Yes,
Insurance dictates that's not going to be a.
Right.
part, you know, so.
Okay.
Anything else you need?
that's the only thing that, other that I had with it.
Any other questions, comments from council? I'm perfectly fine doing the same thing we did last year. Anything else y'all need to add?
No, sir.
Good.
You can go to the street closure.
I don't know that we could, to me, I think it creates a safety thing with some of the, I know we tried to do it. Yeah. We tried to do a cruising a couple years ago and tried to leave the street open and cars were just still zooming by and had pedestrians all around and so.
And the anticipated hours, I did notice that a lot of the businesses in the downtown area, they do close kind of early on Saturdays. So instead of starting early like we did last year, we want to propose a time of starting at 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. With the street
I know we can make
closures.
it better.
Dealt with the businesses, yeah.
That sounds good to me. If there are no questions or comments from council, I need a motion from council to approve the sponsorship of $1,500 to go towards Juneteenth. Celebration is scheduled for June 17th, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Motion.
Everybody's.
Mr. Baker just passed.
Your motion, Mr. Baker?
Motion, I'll second either one you want to give.
I'll say Ms. Mangan was first, so Ms. Mangan was motion.
Ladies, first, in, so.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. And Mr. Sly, you can determine which account. I think last year we used it.
Yeah, we'll follow our precedents.
Very much fine.
Thank y'all.
I will say the event festival was awesome.
Yeah, we can tell you enjoyed yourself.
And next on the agenda is local revenue service intergovernmental agreement. Mr. Sly.
All right, last month you approved, the LRS, ordinance. This here is the supplement, the intergovernmental agreement that goes along with it, for you to approve. And then the very next thing is the program supplement, which is also an additional service agreement, goes along with that same, for them to collect, the state to collect, our municipal association to collect the fees.
Mr. Ford, have you approved the
Yes, I've got no objections to the form.
Any questions, comments? Council? If there are none, need a motion to approve local revenue service intergovernmental agreement. Got a motion? Got a second? Any further discussion? Hearing all in favor, raise your right hand. And next on the agenda is the local revenue service program supplement. The same thing, Mr. Ford, you already looked at it, and
No objections as to form.
okay. Anything you need to add, Mr. Sly?
Nope.
Questions, comments from council? Hearing none, need a motion to approve the program supplement for the local revenue service.
Make a motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing all in favor, raise your right hand. Next on the agenda is acceptance of the V-Safe grant for $13,350, excuse me. Mr. Sly.
All right, the fire department received a V-Safe grant, much like they did last year, $13,350. I'm not sure what they have planned for that. I thought the fire chief was gonna be here, but he's not feeling well, so We did receive the grant, the money's already come in, so.
Okay. Questions, comments from council?
So you don't know what it was spent.
I don't know what he's planning on spending that money on right off. Like I said, I thought he was gonna be here this evening to
But for now, you just need to, just to accept the.
accept the grant, yep.
But it's not restricted for anything, it's just.
Probably restricted based on whatever he applied for on the grant itself.
Any questions, comments from council? Hearing none, better raise your right hand to accept, excuse me, back up. That bottle of water.
You get a motion.
Yeah. Need a motion, there you go. Need a motion to approve the acceptance of the Be Safe grant for $13,350.
Motion. Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing all in favor, raise your right hand. Trying to get ahead of myself. So I have to check the box before you actually do it. Next on the agenda is music in the park, Mr. Sly.
All right, there was a safety issue and some alcoholic beverages at the last music in the park. Mr. Griffin talked about those earlier whenever he was up there. We have addressed those. I'm planning on drafting a letter, telling him, what the town expects and as far as, what happens and is also along with the alcoholic beverages, how he needs to act appropriately with those, to follow the rules of the town.
There is a sign there about no alcohol there, right?
There's two of them.
Just want to make sure I don't bring alcohol in the park, but I just want to make sure it was there. Any questions, comments from council? So this thing will be handled.
Yes, sir.
I guess, anything your council wants to add? This is just for information purposes only tonight, okay? Next on the agenda is the department head reports. Mr. Johnson, you want to start us?
As far as what we got going on, not a lot really exciting going on. We'll say that I think we've got recorded 10 new water taps in the last several months. Don't know that we've had any sewer taps. Something that took place in the last couple of weeks was spring cleanup. We had 60 work orders for cleanup. That was just the work orders, not counting the people who put stuff out that didn't call in a work order. So that was 60 work orders, couches, sinks, stoves, all kinds of stuff. I was trying to get a count of how many loads that we took. I'm guessing 8 loads, dump truck loads. So a lot of stuff got cleaned up this last couple of weeks. We're currently, leaves and limbs, I know it's a big deal. We're caught up on limbs and we're working on the leaves. We are getting to a schedule on that, hopefully 2 days a week to keep that maintained and up to snuff. To be able to do that is we have the staff to do that now. We are up 100% on staff again. We had lost quite a few and we're doing really good. Something that happened yesterday is the first time this has happened since I've been here. We had like 4 different things going on at one time. So we had several guys doing a bunch of different things. Usually we're on like 1 or 2 things at the most in a day. Something I've been dreaming of since I got here was to be able to multitask and take care of a lot of things. We're there. We got a group of guys that's doing this. So, good group of guys. Some other work orders we did, they got like water leaks and so forth and so on. We just replaced a hydrant down here on South Pearl. It will be in operation very soon. Had a leak on it, changed it out, sealed it off Friday, put the hydrant in yesterday. As soon as the ground dries up, we'll put it back in operation. We have a few other hydrants that we're going to be changing out also, and adding a couple of hydrants on Clark Street. Where was the other one? Shane, Clark Street and somewhere else she was on.
Maynard and Usher, get one down there.
So we'll be adding some more hydrants to the system. And we had the pleasure of busting out a beaver dam that was compromising our sewer line and adding water to the sewer system, which was just within probably a quarter of a mile from the wastewater treatment plant. Thankfully, we busted out a couple of times and we didn't have to go chase the beavers down. They moved on their own instead of us having to take care of that. So that was an interesting little project too. Other than that was it. Anybody got any questions?
Any questions, comments? Thanks, sir. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As usual, par for the course of the past, our last quarter was pretty busy too. We had a total of 6,609 calls for service. We had 146 incidents. We had 56 arrests. We obtained 36 warrants. Able to serve 24 warrants. We completed 26 wreck reports. There was a total of 177 written contacts. We issued 347 citations, completed a total of 465 traffic stops. We had 4 DUI arrests, 23 drug case arrests, completed 192 foot patrols, and we were called on by the county to go out in the county and assist them 13 times in the past quarter. Among that, we were able to complete 112 hours of training throughout all the officers. We had an officer that graduated in the academy on March the 3rd, and he just finished up his field training so he could get actually on the street by himself. Over the past year or so, the Law Enforcement Council passed a standards that's required for law enforcement now that you have to have 9 standard policies or whatever. So we just got through drafting them, got those drafted up, and we had a review with the Academy and the Municipal Association, their policy reviews of them, and we passed with no issues or problems. We participated in the National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. We attended a career fair, and we were able to, we done a career day at the school district. And like I said, we've got 2 officers right now that's currently in the academy. We've still got 2 spots that we're trying to hire for. We've got 2 that's in the academy, so basically we're 50% of our workforce down right now. So, but it's been pretty busy, but we've been getting by with it. So, but everything's going pretty good beside of that. Any questions?
Questions, comments?
What percentage of your staff is up to?
50%. About 50% what's on patrol.
Well, thank you for what you do.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next on our agenda, this is anything else, right? Nobody. Next on the agenda is the administrator report, Mr. Sly.
All right, financial statements have been provided. You should all have a copy also. The final report's up here like it is every month. Most of the items at the farmer's market have been sold. We've been making some headway on getting the building cleaned up. Jason come by Friday morning and took a look at it. So we're making some headway with that. I think we still got some shelving and that type of stuff that needs to be sold. But pretty much most of the stuff that was in there, the old merchandise is sold. That don't include the back building, the old lawnmower shop, and that don't completely include the back of that other side over there. But the main hardware store side is mostly cleaned out at this time. I've been in contact with several banks, working on trying to get some interest rates, figure out what we're going to need to do to get a fire truck. So I've been in that process. Right this second, the interest rates are high, and that's the only thing I can really say about it. They're high. I'm working on trying to find some lower interest rates, but right now I'm gonna get what I can get, and we may have to. It may be one of those things that we refinance later on. One of the banks that I was talking to said, "Hey, with this type of loan, you would do, at end of 5 years, it'd be a balloon payment. You'd refinance the balloon payment at probably a lower interest rate because the interest rates probably will be come down by then. So there's some options out there, and I'm looking at them and contacting some people to get some ideas on what it'd take to do that. Kelly attended her first class towards getting her clerk certification. Was that last week or the week before? Week before last. This is what, a 2-year or 3-year? 3-year process. She's gone through the first one in that direction. Baseball and softball will be wrapping up at the end of the month. We did not get approval for the SCIP grant. We had put in 2 applications for the SCIP grant. We got denied for both of them. I've got a conference call set up for the 2 weeks from today on reviewing those grant applications, finding out why, figuring out what's going on and what we need to do going forward. Now, on that same token, the county did get approximately $30 million that I can count, approximately $30 million in SCIP grants come to the Chesterfield County. And those come in the form of water. Some of it went to Alligator Rural Water, some of it went to Chesterfield Rural Water, and I think Sherrall got some as well. And town of Chesterfield. So, you know, a good bit of money did come to the county, just town of Pageland didn't get any at this time. The county, I'm sorry, I just went through that one. The Taste of Pageland was this past Saturday. Town gave out roast beef sliders, and we appreciate the helpers that helped us serve. I think it turned out pretty good.
Those were homemade yeast roll, y'all.
The boil water advisory that we put it out over the weekend, it was lifted today when we got our results back from the lab. I know there was several requests on when we're going to lift that. We got the information today. It has been lifted at this point. The lift is currently here. We'll be putting up some banners later this week. And also, we're going to get Public Works to take the lift down to the community center and fix the rope on the flagpole down there. I think during one of those heavy wind and rain events we had over the last month, it broke the line up there, and so they're going to fix that too while they got the lift and they can get up there to it. And next month, June 17th, same day as the Juneteenth downtown, but there'll also be a fly-in at the airport. We'll have some folks flying planes into town, you know,
What was the date of that?
June 17th.
That'll be the morning though, of the 17th. It'll be over by the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Those of you who don't know, it's much like a car show, but with airplanes.
Yeah. We had about 85 planes come in last night. I had like 300 or 400 people come in.
That's all that I have.
We're talking with Shane Boggs about the farmer's market. It does look much better now that as you can see, it's to take shape with all that inventory out there. One thing I told him is I do want to have air conditioning in that thing before the festival, because if we can cut watermelons or whatever during the festival, we can have AC. So it is hot, very hot out there on the street. So I think that'd be a nice little addition to downtown, is having, not saying we can have any retail type stuff for sales in there, we could, but at least we'll be in there to cut watermelon and stuff, and people come there to cool down. So hopefully the next council meeting very soon we'll have some quotes for HVAC system in that building. So,
One more thing while I'm thinking about it. I went and ordered y'all some swag today. You will all be getting new aprons for the Watermelon Festival that will have the town logo in the center. So you got some swag coming before the Watermelon Festival.
any questions, comments from Mr. Slack before we move on? We'll move on to the next item. Executive session, we've got 2 items to discuss in executive session. One is personal matter, and one is a legal advice that relates to a contractual matter. Need a motion to go into executive session. Motion, and a second, Mr. Hancock. All in favor, raise your right hand. We'll take about a 2-3 minute recess, and then we'll go into our meeting day. Thank you.
Kelly,